We're a couple minutes late. We're gonna enter into an emergency session under ORS 192.630. And it does not have 24-hour notice. We don't need it under that ORS. If you all, please just silence your cell phones and join us in the pledge. Mark, would you do this?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So Commissioner Winters is not joining us today. He might show up, might not. First item on our list, best practices for face coverings. We have two items. There's another issue we're having with grasshopper infestation in Lake County. We'll be discussing that after. I'm imagining no one's here to talk about that. Mainly for me and Mark.
Going from one plague to another.
Okay. So best practices for face coverings. The press release that came out a couple days ago from the governor's office was not accompanied by an executive order. And so we weren't sure what exactly we would be enforcing other than a press release. And so I assumed that an executive order would be forthcoming. There was one that came out late last night, and it is an extension of a previous executive order, and also it alters the deal, so to speak. So there's additional guidance that's come down from Oregon Health Authority and through the governor's office. I could pick apart a lot of the hypocrisy in the guidance. For instance, for purposes in the guidance, they list the number of businesses that will be required to have not only their employees but their visitors to wear face masks, and they list fitness-related organizations and a number of other things. But immediately on the next page, they also say that masks, face shields, or face coverings are not required when at a business or in an indoor space open to the public and engaged in an activity that makes wearing a mask, face shield, or face covering not feasible, such as strenuous physical exercise.
Or eating.
Well, correct. Eating and drinking is also, you are not required to wear a face mask under those conditions, but if you enter a restaurant, you are required to wear one. So
I do want to see somebody try eating with a face mask.
it's
just for YouTube.
Yeah. So
Sorry, Jim.
I
apologize.
It's all right. I guess I'm just putting this out there for our conversation because we do have a responsibility to the employees in this building. This is a state mandate. It's not a mandate that I personally would come up with. I think it was rushed to be written. We were given no warning on this. The first time we heard about it was in the press release that the governor issued. It wasn't to the counties. And we haven't had any direct communication with the governor's office on this matter, other than just trying to clarify all the other things that we're hearing. So, the requirement in the executive order is just that. It is a requirement that people wear face masks. What we are going
From
to
the state.
yeah, correct. It is a requirement from the state, not us. So I've just been kind of thinking about it, and we had a meeting yesterday where we all discussed things, and Melanie's been kind of helping us draft something, and so Commissioner Alverson, do you want to kind of talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I'm not going to go into what I think.
Okay.
Because everybody's heard it. So what I've proposed, and you guys can comment on it, if you think it's fine. the governor guidelines mandate wearing face coverings. The governor mandates wearing face coverings in public. We recommend these guidelines, but if you're not wearing a mask inside the county building, we will assume you have underlying health conditions that prevent you from wearing a face covering, and you will not be questioned on your underlying conditions. That way, we meet the state's mandate, but if somebody comes in and is not wearing a mask, or if you come into work and not wearing a mask, we assume you have underlying health conditions
We
and you will
cannot ask.
not be questioned. If you wanna wear a mask, have that. But we're not gonna question you if you don't.
We actually can't. We cannot question you or ask or shame you in regards to your medical condition and your
Not
in
only
any way,
we
shape, or
can't,
form.
the state can.
Correct. So we will be publishing and posting the state requirements.
Mel, do you wanna read your one and see if they like it better?
Okay.
Oh,
So,
did you guys put down two of these? I
Yeah,
was wondering, because there were two paragraphs and I was wondering.
yeah, and they're rough, they're not anywhere final. So I was thinking, the state of going off of what these guys have said, the state of Oregon is requiring face coverings while inside public spaces. The county supports this recommendation while respecting the well-being of those who have underlying health conditions that may make them unable to wear face coverings. And I didn't put anything about, we will not ask.
I think this, the way you've got it simple, the better, just right to the point.
But we won't, like, these guys have discussed, like, if someone comes into
But
your
I also-
office, we're
oh,
not
sorry.
going to refuse service. We're not going to ask them why they aren't, because we don't wanna infringe on any of
Yeah.
their personal information. So, I don't know. It's a tough
The
decision.
thing about Mel's that I don't like is the county supports this recommendation, because we don't. Right? Or am I just speaking? for myself?
Well, we recommend people follow the state guidelines,
Right.
but
We don't support those guys, is what I'm saying.
yeah, I don't.
We could take that out.
Well, I don't support the state's requirements.
Right.
And-
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
That
And
sounds
they-
like we support it when we don't.
I get where you're going with that, yeah, no, I suppose,
I don't wanna say I support that, cause I don't.
I'm with you.
we recommend people, we recommend the public follow the state guidelines.
But
We're not gonna act, and that's it, it's not our executive order, so, and we are the governing body of Lake County.
And so
It's our fault.
the way I look at it is, this meets our requirement to the state, but it also protects the person's personal belief in their own health care. So, two birds, one stone. Right?
Yeah, I suppose I'm right there on the same page, we can't question people's pre-existing respiratory issues or any of those things, we just can't. And we're not going to, and I know I was reading some articles and one of the directors of OSHA came out and was making some comments about how he felt like people needed to do more. He was encouraging any businesses, or any member of the public that went into a business and did not see them practicing social distancing, that they were going to, that the public should report those businesses. The issue I have is that that's fine, OSHA can do whatever they're gonna do, I have no authority over OSHA. What we're faced with right now today is, this is, the state mandate was handed to us. Here's what the requirements are, this is what they're saying that they're requiring. And we recommend people follow those, beyond that, this is not our deal. And we're not going to be put into a place, the same as any other commissioner in the state of Oregon, to play doctor and tell people what is best for them. Because as far as I'm concerned, OSHA still has not presented any kind of case or scientific study that proves that masks do not decrease oxygen levels. And they definitely haven't proven that they don't decrease oxygen levels below the 19.5% that they themselves require for a safe working environment. So until OSHA clarifies that, or they say that they've done away with their requirements for a safe work environment in terms of oxygen levels, or the state exempts businesses from the liability if people were to fall down and collapse because they're not getting enough oxygen and they're being forced to wear a mask that was made at home, that there is no way anyone can tell you what the oxygen levels are under that mask. I'm not comfortable taking on that liability at all. And I will have that conversation with OSHA if they have anything to say to us. But as far as I'm concerned, I think the guidance that the governor's office has handed us, I have a lot of questions as I'm going through it, and I haven't had my questions answered by the governor's office yet. This is the best we can do to try and make sure that we're preserving the safety of our employees within the building. The state guidelines are there for people to read and determine for themselves. We are going to recommend that people follow the state's requirements of wearing a mask in this building. But we are not and cannot ask why people don't wear a mask if they have a pre-existing health condition. That is just well beyond any of our business. We are public servants and we have to continue to serve the public, and that's where I stand.
Yeah, it doesn't even touch on what we feel about the legality of making us do something like this.
Well, no, yeah, and that's, and
Like,
I
it
don't,
doesn't touch
don't
on
feel
our
like I-
constitutional rights. And so I'm just trying to keep it simple. You can call it a loophole, whatever you want. But this meets the state's requirements plus our people's desire whether they can choose to wear one or not. If you're questioned by OSHA why you're not wearing a mask, just
send them to us.
Yep.
Is there any questions?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Should we approve this contingent on legal counsel's final review?
no.
Legal counsel's been asked.
Okay.
And they haven't gotten back to us. So I just assume provide this protection to our employees as soon as possible and get these things posted to reduce liability to us, as there is an executive order that went into act already today. And so we need to, we're the leaders, we're the elected officials. I don't need to check with legal counsel for everything, but I believe that this is appropriate. We're recommending people follow the state guidelines. That's it.
So are you guys cool with that?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
I'm cool with it. I'll make a motion to accept,
Do contingent on final review of just the words and everything else, the wording.
so like
You
I
drafted it all, Melanie, I think you can kind of.
I added governors and a public, or a county building instead of the, so it applies to North Lake also.
How about this? I'll make a motion to accept upon whatever you and Melanie can work out and
Okay.
determine is the best language appropriate, and I'll trust your judgment on that. I think I know where you guys are at, and I appreciate both your perspectives, and I think that you'll come to work something out, so it's good for me. All right, motion's been made and seconded. We're short of commissioner. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. On to the next issue is grasshoppers. And locusts.
I kinda wanna hear that.
Out of here.
I'm kind of actually curious.
Have a great 4th of July,
You guys
everybody.
too, take care.
You guys have a good one. Thank you. You're gonna stay for the locust?
So what does Jason wanna do
So, I guess,
about it?
Jason and I were talking a little bit more today. I'm gonna pull up his email real quick.
Jason who?
Jason Yeager.
Oh, Jaeger.
He's our weed guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not just weeds, not weed. Make that clear.
Come on, you don't have to do that. We were just gonna
Well,
let it
Kevin's
go.
sitting there going,
Yeah, we were gonna let Kevin have a good time with that.
they contacted a weed guy.
Alright.
I've talked to Jason before.
Jason's awesome.
Sorry, buddy,
No, you're fine.
I gotta quit being so sarcastic.
No, we enjoy it.
No, Jason Yeager is a Lake County Noxious Weed Supervisor.
Mhm.
And program coordinator. So basically, we've had a number of ranches that have been impacted by grasshoppers quite severely in the last couple weeks and months. And there's spots apparently on 140 and a few other places where the grasshoppers are so thick that the pavement is just brown and can't even see the paint anymore. And I guess from what I'm hearing, and I have no way of confirming this yet, that it's about the same on the north end of the county in places like Silver Lake and a few others. So I wrote Jason back and he was telling me that this was typically, hang on. I wanna make sure I get this right. Yeah, this was typically handled by Pete Schrader. And Pete's gone. Pete's moved on to some better and bigger things. So we're just trying to figure out the process right now. I know a number of ranchers have sprayed. What I'm getting right here though, that some of these ranchers, they've sprayed 3-4 times and they're still having problems and looking at huge, massive decreases in their crops. So Jason's reached out to a few different folks. I don't wanna mention any names of any of the ranchers that have been impacted. But yeah, so I guess the question is what we can do on this, if there's any partners that we can work with at the state. Maybe we should contact AOC and see if there's any other counties that have been impacted by this. And reach out to some of the other
That's Jane
commissioners.
Davis from Extension Office.
I think I'd like to reach out to her, but I also wanna, I guess on the county side of things, we're just wanting to make sure that if there are some resources from USDA or the state grasshopper guy, that if there's any resources that we could use to address this issue, because if we don't fix it here, it might get worse somewhere else. And I'd like to get on it quickly, because like you were saying, you guys sprayed out in the Yoakum Valley, and you sprayed a little late, and the grasshoppers laid their eggs. Yeah, and so you end up having to spray again.
You gotta spray before they lay their eggs, so you can, I guess some of the sprays kill some of the larvae, but
Mhm.
it's better to spray them before they start.
Yeah, right in that time frame. So I guess what I'm looking at is I'd like to move quickly on it, and I just wanted to have the discussion. Ronnie, you have a question on your forehead.
I kinda do. Anyway, but no, didn't OSU, they just did interviews for the new extension agent and the offer is out, so there's gonna be one here pretty quick.
Yeah.
And
I just
so
don't know
We
what
because,
just
that
don't
time-
want all the
Yeah.
pasture land gone.
yeah,
Because if they move out into the winter pasture, they can ruin that for the winter time too.
Yeah.
And they completely devour everything right to the ground.
Right.
but I would call OSU, cause I think
Oh, us,
Jamie
you will
is,
know, yeah.
is strictly coordination and 4-H FFA, that kind of stuff.
Well,
I
the
don't think
initial
she did
email,
anything with Pete's stuff.
right. Well, so the initial email that I got was late last night, and I forwarded it on to you guys.
9:30 actually.
9:30 last night. Yeah. I kept working, I had other things going on.
Well, you made me keep working too.
Yeah, I know, I gotta keep you guys working, that's good. So I asked Melanie to put it on the agenda today for discussion. And, just because we knew that we were likely going to have an emergency session, so it worked out pretty well. I'm gonna, we can loop in OSU, loop in all the different parties, because Jason just sent me this other email here just a little bit ago. So,
So I wonder if we could have Jason contact the BLM and the Forest Service, because a lot of those grasshoppers are moving off of the public land on a private, and see if they can't help us spraying.
right, well, I think that's why he was reaching out to the USDA and looking to bring in some of those other partners. I'm curious, go ahead.
I can't talk about it because it's not in this
Oh,
meeting.
oh,
But remind me, I have something to talk to you about after the meeting.
to Melanie,
Both of you,
Oh.
real quick.
okay, just an update, okay.
And we have to
Alright.
write a letter to the, speaking of the Forest Service,
Oh,
about the east side screens, but we can't talk about it in this meeting.
okay, alright,
Meeting
Um,
laws.
yeah.
We don't have
Well, because we're in an executive session, it's not under the, right. Just I'll just take an update from you later.
Okay,
And just
just remind me.
let me know.
Okay.
What's happening. Anyways, I guess I just like to,
Very important.
I'd like to know if we're gonna be, where we're gonna go aside from that. Do you wanna reach out to any of the other counties or reach out to Gina Nickel at ALC?
Okay, I could reach out to Gina and
Okay,
do that.
and fine, and maybe, it's not like anyone else wants to hear about any other drastic catastrophes or anything. But I do wanna make sure that we have some protections for our farmers, and if there are some other resources and troops that we can pull in to kinda help us out a little bit on this, it'd be really nice, to get a coordinated attack on it, because it's only gonna get worse. And I don't need worse right now.
Nobody does.
Well, we had like three or four good things yesterday in that meeting.
Yeah, you did.
Like we broke records for the last 4 months.
Well, if that's all, then I guess that's it. I got nothing else.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
I'll adjourn the meeting at 5:02.